useful.
We haven't seen Darius yet. The only Darius we ever see is Adam, and that's a very useful Darius.
That is a very useful Darius. I mean, they have the lockdown to deal with Zeri.
Okay, they do.
Not a whole lot of damage.
That's a bad argument for your SoftBank.
Not a whole lot of
pick.
damage coming out from SoftBank if you take out the Zeri.
You're continuing to argue against your pick.
Eminem should just have a field day.
You're doing really bad at this. You're doing abysmal. Well, I mean, he's made the arguments for me. We'll take those.
Minions have spawned.
We'll see how the game starts. I guess where junglers start should dictate a bit about this matchup. I think both of them should be starting on the bot side.
Yeah, neither jungler going to be looking for an invade.
No.
Just Sejuani Vi. No one's trying to take a fight early in the game on either of these champions.
And Jimmy will now hit level 2 off the first minion wave.
Yeah, and Jimmy has to be very careful in the mid lane because I really only see an angle for Forest to play around mid this game. Top lane just feels too hard.
Yeah, and he does go for the phase rush, so I mean, in theory, going to be a little bit safer, but not have as much access to gold.
Yeah, slightly less damage too.
Heavy starting W, so no real extra damage, but you can look for really short trades with this Rek'Sai, where you look for the knock-up, one auto attack, and you just back off, and you pretty much win the trade. It's a little scary against Darius, though, depending on the skill order. Because if you do that once he has all 3 of his abilities, he can just look for their apprehend and get a pretty sizable trade onto you, as well as that continued burn that comes through from just virtue of being a Darius. But, as I said, there's that little trade pattern that Rek'Sai does have in the top lane.
Yeah, can heal up off the W, and this champ has just felt immovable in lane when we've seen it. We did only get to see it once. Jung connects the Q. So, doesn't do too badly in that trade. And, yeah, I mean, level 3 Darius seems so scary for this Rek'Sai. Dasher taking a pretty good trade mid, by the look of things.
Yeah, seemingly so.
And Evie is not getting this. Oh, sorry, that was Jiang's cannon. So Evie is going to get most of this wave.
It's not the easiest to last hit with Rek'Sai on the tower.
Yeah, AoE on your auto attacks, right?
Yeah, and you don't really do any damage.
Vista is going to be spotted by this ward. Does he see it?
Oh, there we go. I think he might have been looking at the mid wave.
Yeah. And, you know, pressure already being applied to Jimmy's lane.
Forest now finishing up his clear, heading down now to this Scuttle Crab, a little bit slower than... Oh my, that was really nice. Cancelling out that end of the tunnel there. Jiang going to be popping his ghost nice and early. Gemini's coming up here. Should be the permafrost landing. What can they do? Is there follow-up? No. No tunnel to come through. Q does not connect for Jiang as Evie does land his in return. Gemini now going to get permafrosted up, and he might just be going down. Knock up again coming through from this Rek'Sai, and Jiang losing this trade heavy, but now he gets the sticks and the flash forward from Gemini for first blood.
Yeah, just not enough damage to deal with these champions.
Oh my god. Gemini not headed the direction he should have, and Evie's able to get that trade back.
Yeah, I mean, Jung survives that gank without even having to use his flash, and Forrest has to flash away. So a nice play initially from Frank, but Evie manages to trade a kill back. And
double buffs now.
Jung, no TP. Wave looking terrible.
Yeah, he can't really be dove, so he should be okay to just pick this up when it eventually crashes into his tower.
Oh yeah, I actually thought it was pushing away from him, so wave's not too bad.
Well, this double buff is going to be...
Gemini is just
really annoying.
Running it back.
There is going to be a ward there.
Yeah, and as well as he hit the Scryer Bloom, so Evie should...
There's so many tunnels. I don't think Evie's going to really feel all that pressure. In fact, he flashes forward and manages to find the kill. Gemini might be able to answer back. You got to deny these tunnels. Not going to be able to, and Evie is just out of there.
Yeah, almost wins that trade against Gemini as well, and he's just able to walk back onto this wave. Doesn't have flash, a little bit scary. Jung, no TP, is going to be able to catch most of this still, though, because Gemini delays Evie from crashing the wave. Evie still just looking like a demon on the Rek'Sai. And yeah, he finds an engage onto Jiang with Forest, maybe thinking nothing's happening. So he walks down, but does make his way back up. And you're kind of seeing the power of the Darius. Even in the 2v1 here, he's just fine. He just manages to walk out of this with the help of Gemini showing up, forcing Forest Flash out. And yeah, they have enough damage to almost kill a target with this combo, but not quite enough to kill either member. And nice flash here. I think this flash probably should have been onto Evie. But I guess because Forest didn't have flash up is why Gemini went for him over the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, kind of surprised that Gemini managed to find a way to go down as well. Walks down to the river.
Yeah.
Evie's just following him, and then he walks back towards Evie and just one shot.
It should be a good trade for Jiang here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Gets the full stacks of that passive. I wonder if he's going to pick up their Executioner's Calling here. It does do well into the Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
It means that he can get his health back a little bit, but you also kind of want to delay going burrowed until the Grievous Wounds are no longer ticking on you.
Yeah. But, you know, that's not usually how Rek'Sai wants to trade. When we saw Into the Renekton, he was just constantly fighting and re-burrowing as he fought. So, you know, relieve some pressure even if it's played around. Evie should be fine in this lane now. I was a bit worried about him into the Darius, but Jimmy and...
Yeah, if you start 2-0, you're never going to be too killable.
Yeah, ends up just being a Ruby Crystal for him. But a bit of an XP lead as well.
Ghost back available now for Jiang. Looks like the early objective is going to go over to SoftBank with how much pressure Forest was able to give up to the top side alongside Evie with just clean out plays.
Yep, Forrest's going to be picking up 3 of these Void Grubs and has picked up the Dragon at some point. I don't even remember.
Yeah, that was while Evie was 1v2ing.
Yeah, it's got to feel good.
Oh, and he's found an angle onto mid. Jimmy and he's going to be going down. Forrest does take that one for himself. Lazy auto attack at the end there.
Yeah, moment that Forrest gets 6, he just runs to mid, and Jimmy doesn't manage to flash out of the Sejuani ult.
Apprehend coming through once again as Evie will be getting a bit of health back in that burrowed form, but honestly, it's probably somewhat equivalent to the amount he loses from that full stacks of passive coming through from Darius. It was called Hemorrhage.
Yeah. Yeah, importantly, you just can't take the extended trade, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to be how Jimmy goes down. I think it's just a Sejuani out of fog, not even out of fog. Jimmy just thinking he could walk out of the Sejuani ulti. Just gets clipped by it and goes down. Very good start again for Forest.
Junk should be okay.
Yeah, still feels like he's getting out-sustained by the Rek'Sai for now.
Also, I'd be intrigued to see what Jiang goes for his build here. I imagine probably, I guess, the Stride Breaker would be my guess.
Yeah, lets you stick on top of targets. I think he should build just purely for the 1v1.
Oh.
Gonna set up a play onto Evie, it looks like. Gemini has his ulti on the buy now.
Nice dodge there.
Oh, but he gets...
Oh,
he gets spotted out by the Rek'Sai passive while he's burrowed. Evie knows to back off there.
How annoying.
Yeah. So tanky. I mean, the poke from Varus is just not going to really be affecting the Rek'Sai all that much this game. I mean, it's annoying to play into Talia. Right, you get stunned anytime you're trying to burrow forward. But even with Jiang missing some HP and pretty low on mana, I don't think he just dies to a Rek'Sai ever. But he is being, you know, whittled down slowly.
Yeah, 60 HP at a time every time Evie lands a Q in a burrowed form. Although Evie has walked very far up here. He does survive, but...
Yeah, I think Jiang honestly just gives him credit there. Evie knows exactly where he's recalling, I think.
Oh, but like...
Yeah, just not enough cooldown on the Q. And the wave honestly sucks for Jiang. We'll see if he goes back first. Looking. Uh-oh.
Oh no, it's the cease and desist picked up. Jimmy getting that flash away though, and that's 2 big cooldowns now used for SoftBank as the Dragon will be spawning.
Yeah, it gets Forest Flash as well.
It's flash used by Jimmy, but for the upcoming fight, if they are to find one, no Silas ult, no Sejuani ult, and the Weaver's Wall coming through, cease and desist. We're seeing the immediate effects of it, and everything's being used here onto Forest, who will be going down. Gemini picks up that one. Now Dasher is going to have to get Alan out of there after losing his jungler, and it should be this Dragon now picked up for the side of Frank, and that's without the power of this Varus in the early game.
Yeah, very clean engage from Jimmy and Gemini. Kaiwing uses his flash and ulti to make sure they get the kill and nothing is traded back onto them. It's actually Evie who goes for anti-heal.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't think that's going to help you take any extended trade, but...
I mean, yeah, you don't really want an extended trade, so... It's going to cut down a bit of the healing from Jiang's Q, but... I mean...
Roa completed at a reasonable time for the Silas. Not the fastest, certainly not the slowest Roa we've seen. Jimmy and
now no flash. That's going to be the Tempered Fate, and follow-up is absolutely there. Are they going to be able to get him? Dasher is well outside of kill threat, but damn, that was some
well
fancy
played.
footwork from Jimmy to almost pick himself up a kill on Dasher under the tower.
Yeah, well played by Jimmy to force Vista to take the kill, rather than it going to the Silas. Well played gank by Vista though. No flash on this Talia. She's just a sitting duck for any Bard ults. Gemini without ulti is probably not killing this Rek'Sai.
Jiang lands the apprehend, and there comes the Vault Breaker. Cease and desist should come through, and Jiang, knowing that he's the one with the target on his head, is going to run away, try and get Evie out of safety. Through comes that Glacial Prison. It's onto Gemini. Ultimate nearly up, but not quite. Maybe that could have been the difference maker if cease and desist could have come through. Wasn't able to though, and Evie survives, and now he's going to be able to sustain all the way back up to full in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, looks like he's eyeing up a play. Gemini stays to defend it. And I thought they had killed this Rek'Sai, but this champion is so difficult to kill. Evie didn't even flash. Looked very scary for a second there. But Forrest just in time to save his top laner.
Executioner's calling is now picked up for both top laners.
Yeah. Yeah, makes a lot of sense for Jiang, I think.
Oh, and Sejuani's full build.
Wow. Yeah, this Knight's Vow item is very strong. It's on the Silas, I think, at the moment. Kaiwing is here to defend his jungler's Raptors. Forrest shouldn't hang around too long.
Okay. They're able to get the Raptors. Now Red is the target.
Risky fight for SoftBank.
Yeah, Kaiwing on vision there. Does manage to take it out. And Eminem lurking around looking for that Chain of Corruption. Will be able to land, and he lands it onto the Silas. Through comes that Tempered Fate, but not before a nice seismic shove from Jimmy and lands onto 2. If he's here, though, the teleport down does mean that he will be joining into this 4v5 as Jimmy and trying to run away again. Not going to be able to, though, as it's 2 picked up. Actually, there's only 1 somehow. So 1 for 1, all things considered. And Jiang's going to get a bit of time by himself here on this top side. Eminem walking back to his tower, and with Evie sitting there in between Gemini, Kaiwing, and that Varus, this is a very, very risky position.
Yeah, Jiang is going to take some plates on the top lane tower, but Dasher on the Silas is on his way. No plates to take, actually. So, big play from SoftBank, making use of the TP advantage they have in the top lane.
Yeah, Jiang down a level on both Evie and Dasher. That's never a good sign.
Yeah, it's just been a rough laning phase. None of these ganks working out, and every time they fail, he's just had a bad wave state. And Kaiwing kites out this engage and re-engages, but his team is stuck in this Bard ultimate. Kaiwing does go down early on, and then Gemini eventually goes down as well. Jimmy got there in the end. And kill onto Marble is a big deal. He is the primary source of damage for this comp.
Evie. Weaver's Wall coming through, but he's able to get at least 1 or more of those burrows.
Yeah, he's out of the fight now.
And now Forrest is going to have to flash away. Not letting those hemorrhage stacks add up and have Jiang possibly take over a fight. No Ghost makes it a little bit harder, but maybe with that, both summoners used by Forrest.
Yep, SoftBank barely escaping. It looks like they want Evie in mid lane and Dasher into this
Jung with a nice little trade there.
Yeah, Dasher into this Darius, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Importantly for Jung's executioners, yes, you got the double value just by virtue of being against the Silas. Nice bit of poke there, landing through from that piercing arrow.
Yeah, it is SoftBank starting up the Rift Herald, and Jimmy without TP or Weaver's Wall means that Frank are just not going to be contesting this.
Say that, Kyling's entering this river. He's awfully far up. Jung now does have Ghost, does have Ultimate, of course, but they're looking for a knock-up coming through from Heavy, but a nice grand entrance and quickness coming through there from Kyling might just be the difference maker. Hemorrhage not going to be able to come out. Can he get the reset? No, Dash with the flash away, but it's 2 kills for Frank. Make that a 3rd as Evie will finally be fouled. And the shutdown goes to none other than Eminem. Dasher now going to be fouled. Nice flash away. Is going to be able to keep himself safe for now. Piercing arrow coming through 1 HP. And it is yet another kill for Eminem on this Varus. And if there's a man you want the kills on for Frank, it's Eminem.
Yeah, Kaiwing actually used his flash at the end of that fight to block the chains from the Silas and save his ADC as well. And I thought without their mid laner here, they wouldn't take this fight, but there's not a lot of damage without this Zeri, on the other hand, for SoftBank, and it takes so long to take Jiang out, especially with the peel that's coming through for his team. He gets a couple of key Darius Qs off, and in spite of how much CC there is onto him, it just still takes so long to kill him with this combination of champions from SoftBank. Heavy trades some damage back, but... And Dasher does get both the bot laners flashes here. That flash from Kaiwing.
That was so good.
And, yeah, Eminem picks up a couple kills and is in a very strong spot now.
I mean, Kaiwing just the MVP of that fight.
Yeah. Peels his Darius and then saves his ADC too.
Yeah, finds his way in for a 2-man knock-up, and absolutely everything, every single cooldown that SoftBank had
was used on Jiang.
Darius.
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe now on a flank. Eminem, he is in a world of trouble. Double knockup coming through, but there is the peel there. Jung's trying to get his stacks up. Forest very low. Ult comes through from Evie, but he's not got the damage. He's a full tank Rek'Sai. And now the front line, it is going to look like Jung might just be finally going out. He doesn't find the heal there. And through comes Evie yet again, but he's stunned up. He's going to get so low and he goes down. The health bars are so low for Frank as the magical journey coming through. But Jung and Eminem, they fight everything. And what a turnaround. Jimmian is not done, however. Forest versus Jimmian. It's a nice seismic shove. And some way it's a clean ace for Frank Esports.
5-0 ace for Frank out of nowhere. Jimmian doing 6,000 damage in that fight. It looked like the Zeri was just going to take over, but Frank do such a good job of just getting out of these fights on low HP. And I thought they might just be able to close the fight for SoftBank when Evie lands a 3-man knockup in that fight, but they just don't have the damage at this point with the Zeri. And this fight looks doomed from the start with how this engage works onto Eminem. Sejuani Q hits him, but he does have cleanse, and Evie flashes onto 2. Gets peeled off of the Varus by Jiang on the Darius. Can't quite finish off Eminem and does have to wait to re-engage here, and every member of Frank gets away on low HP.
Yeah.
Evie with the re-engage here knocks up 3, but then this Comrade Vista with the magical journey here gets a 4 kill with this thing. Every member of SoftBank going through the magical journey and dying.
I think it has to be said too, during that fight when everyone on Frank was on 1 HP, Marble had flashed the entire time.
Yeah.
The entire time. And I mean, I have to go back and watch it again, to be honest, to look out for exactly what could have happened.
He could have flashed,
there had to have been some point in that fight
where he could
have flashed and last hit someone, which probably just
snowballs the fight,
the entire fight. Because you saw Frank, literally everyone, finishes that fight on as close to 1 HP as you can be without being literally 1 HP.
Yeah, Evie interrupts the
cease and desist,
too.
and Jimmian's going to be able to get rid of that tunnel. He comes through from that ultimate and is going to get immediately stunned. Chain of Corruption misses, but the grand entrance and the quickness will not as Kaiwing comes in to secure himself the kill. It is going to be traded back, however, as it is Dasher with that. Darius ult himself picking up a kill. Mid lane tower as well being taken out, but shouldn't really be.
Yeah, TP from Jimmian saves mid tower. Bot tower is certainly going down. Going to be traded for the top tower.
Yeah, let's see who gets the first. There are Equal Void Grubs, just 1-1 in this game. No one really caring about them.
Yeah.
Eminem, can he beat Dasher?
Red team's
Oh, he does.
Yeah. A lot of AD on the spare. 7-0 and 4, by the way.
Yeah, and the gold lead's 5k, I'm pretty sure I just saw.
Yeah, from even as well. Yeah, they do have enough damage to kill Jiang here. Fortunately for SoftBank, they're able to get across map, and they use a lot less members to do it. So a little bit of tempo one back, but they are very behind in this game.
Yeah, somehow this is a 4k gold lead for Frank.
Yeah, out of nowhere. It's off that one fight. I think the game was dead even, maybe even slightly SoftBank favored before that fight.
Well, I think after the Rift Hero fight as well, there was a slight lead for Frank.
Yeah, right. I forgot. Yeah, Frank have been clawing this back in, old school Frank. Earlier in the split, Frank
That's
fashion.
right. Lose early game, win game.
Yeah, just outplay it in team fights, and yeah, in that mid lane team fight as well. That was just the definition of outplaying a team fight. Every member doing the maximum on Frank, fighting until they're double-digit HP.
Yeah, that was mental.
Yeah.
That was one of the team fights of all time.
Yeah, and kills just all going over to this Varus, who is just going to be a monster. You would think lethality Varus falls off, but it really doesn't.
Yeah.
He just does so much damage, even into tanky comps.
Lever's wall coming through, but that shouldn't really find anything. They're hunting. They're being proactive. Unfortunately, it is just a lost cooldown. Not the most impactful generally. Very good against around the objectives, but you're not truly pressuring this Baron when you have the lethality Varus, and so the next objective will just be this Hextech Dragon, which would be soul point for Frank if they are able to collect it.
Yeah, all the vision from both teams just in this red side of SoftBank at the moment. Both teams aware of Baron being, the objective to play around for the moment. I don't think either team has a very quick Baron, though.
Yeah, I mean, SoftBank's is definitely quicker.
Yeah, I'm not sure how quickly Darius does the Baron.
Probably not
how
all
much
that
he
quick.
contributes. Does he stack the bleed on it?
I don't know.
It stacks on minions and jungle camps, so I think maybe.
Yeah, it might, but I still don't think it's that quick.
Yeah.
The quickest will just be the Talia, who has the Leandries with her.
Yeah.
But it's I mean,
once Zeri gets some items, she'll be doing a lot of damage to it. Evie is going to just slowly whittle away at this tower.
Yeah, this will be that.
Still manages to get it, so despite a disadvantage in gold for SoftBank, they are still able to play the map just because of how tanky and hard to lock down this Rek'Sai is. And, so Marble next fight just has to find a way to survive this Vi ultimate. Jiang, no TP though.
Yeah, but he should be okay to just sit here and walk down. In fact, he's just going to give up one minion wave. This is kind of why we find him at an XP disadvantage, because he is just having a sack wave after wave to make sure he's at these objectives. Yeah, he's not the main character anymore in this game. It is just Eminem.
Yeah, and he's done a great job of peeling. You don't think of Darius as a great peel champ, but he can be very dangerous to run into.
SoftBank starting up this dragon. It is a 5v5 as Eminem actually just picks up that mid-wave tower, I believe, and with that, Weaver's Wall now coming through. Vista, he's not with the rest of his team, has that magical journey if he so chooses to. There's that Glacial Prison coming down, and in will come this fantastic Tempered Fate. Forest running forward, Eminem going to flash away. Grand entrance onto two. It's Marble and Vista going to get stunned up. Dasher walking forward. Dasher in the middle of everyone. He gets the shot down, but it does go down. That's a dead Varus, and that Varus has 7 your team kill. Evie now in the back line. It's 3v4. Evie's trying to find his way out. Not going to be able to. Oh, he does. He does make it out, and Marble this whole time is stacking up that ult, is finding the damage, but all things said and done at 2 for 2.
Yeah, both teams playing this team fight so well, especially the engagers on either team. Sejuani ult wasted a bit early, but then a great Bard ulti from Vista comes through. And Marble finally finds an opportunity to flash aggressively. It is the jungler going down for SoftBank, while Gemini stays alive, so it should just be the dragon for Frank. And Jiang really, again, just stops the Zeri from taking over that fight, so he's having a lot of impact in these fights after a rough early game for him.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Yeah, so it's a bit of out of sync Forest with the rest of his team. You want the Silas there to follow up, but this magical journey, and then Kaiwing, honestly, on the other hand, stops this from being a disaster. Meanwhile, Evie is stopping Jiang from getting a ridiculous flank. Kaiwing lands a nice combo onto two, but then, yeah, here Marble finally gets his chance. shutdown going onto Silas. Maybe you wanted it on the Zeri, but I think you can split the difference. And Evie kind of did his job this fight. Stopped Jiang flanking his team.
That was really well played by Gemini to cancel that tunnel as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Evie probably makes it out. Oh, everyone onto Gemini, and he has just strolled away. Somehow dodges everything.
Yeah.
And walks on out of there. He is probably counting his lucky stars as now he's the one looking aggressively. That's a bar we're looking for. The Celestial on him, he's going to take a lot less damage, but not less enough as he is just taken out. Viol was committed, but that's not all that big of a deal as Harmony's still looking aggressively here onto Evie on the Rex side. Probably not the guy you want to look for, but you have taken out that support, and so Frank turning their attention now towards this Baron buff.
Yeah, very scary for SoftBank now. No one to place wards to spot out Frank as they try to force this Baron.
Yeah, no summoners here on the Zeri, no summoners on M&M, so both AD carries are a bit vulnerable. You have to favor the Zeri in that scenario, though. Stun lands and the knock-up onto Forest, who's going to take a large chunk of damage from that Scuttered Earth. He is very, very low, and he's on the wrong side of the map. Flash forward, Gemini gets that one. M&M going to be getting the last hit on it, however, as it's now a 3v5, but a bit of tempo lost. Vista now returning with those magical journeys and the Bard movement speed.
Frank can look again.
Yeah, no jungler now.
And this time they can just commit to burning it if they want to. Do SoftBank have enough damage to actually deter them from doing this?
We do have Lightning Crash available. Dasher as well does have that Silas ult, which will be that quickness if he finds a way in. Fantastic Tempered Fade, and Dasher has popped the Silas ult. He's found his way in. It's a 3-man charm landed by this Silas, and they are defending it, and they are defending it bloody well. Kaiwing now, he's not got what he needs to try and find anything in this fight. It is going to be eventually Jimmy and not Jimmy and Jung getting that burn down onto Dasher, but the 4v5 with the ultimate still available is going to go in favor of SoftBank, and despite losing their jungler, they're going to be the ones to claim this Baron. Yeah,
Marble so much pressure on him in these team fights to provide the damage. Vista finds another really nice Tempered Fate onto the Varus here. Really difficult to play the Varus without a flash into the Bard. Forest going to be here to smite, so hopes of Kaiwing stealing this are dashed. And a shutdown onto Marble. I mean, M&M goes down and still has a shutdown. Despite going down in the previous fight. He is very strong, but Vista comes back to this fight, and you kind of see why they maybe focused him in that last fight. He's just finding M&M constantly with the Tempered Fate.
Dasher hits a 3-man here too with the charm.
Yeah, actually mistimed by Vista on the Bard Q, but doesn't matter. Marble's able to get in and, kite everyone out, and, by the time any lockdown gets onto him, all the carries are already dead for the side of Frank, and SoftBank claw back the gold lead now.
Yeah, back to essentially even. It is going to be that Dragon Soul potential, though, for Frank in a minute and a half, and you still have to kind of favor them in the team fights, especially now that Eminem has that flash available. He's not going to be getting caught by this Bard ult unless they can somehow find a way to get that off him early on. Yeah, they have to find a way to protect Eminem in these fights and make sure he can get some poke out. Jimmy is so close to having voice staff. Yeah. Really would love to have that online before this next fight. Burn through that Rex side just a little bit quicker. Yeah, Sejuani too. Yeah, exactly. Kanik Recurn finished. Also has the Anathemas available. Yeah, Evie. Now, Eminem does need to land poke, but there are not a whole lot of great targets to land this poke on. Yeah, but maybe you don't need to land poke. They found a lot of damage onto Evie. Nice seismic shove there, committing, or connecting, shall I say. Yeah, taking Dasher is 2 levels up on Jimmy and now on the Silas. Doesn't have the best ults to take. I mean, we saw him get ridiculous impact out of the quickness in that previous fight. Makes it a lot easier that there are 3 melee champs on the side of Frank. Frank now, they're fighting for vision. They're going to need it. They definitely do want this dragon. Yeah. They're not forced to contest it, but... Yeah, I think you should never let it go down without at least
poking around, seeing if you can get a pick, because getting this dragon is
Dragon's
very often just a win.
Up and available, Dasher with that Viol, but he's going to be the one that's looked at. In fact, CC coming through, and this Tempered Fate's actually landed onto the Silas. They do manage to pick up that Hextech Dragon in the meantime, though, and Evie's on the back line, but Eminem's untouched. Eminem is feeling completely fine here in this fight. Gemini, however, he's going to burst down. Down goes the Asterix, and through comes this Viol onto Eminem, who's going to be able to flash away. It's 1-0. We've got very low health bars once again, and Evie's gone forward. Evie's going to get apprehended, and Evie's going to get locked up. Evie does have the flash, but he does go down as Eminem picks that one up, and now Marvel's with it all to do. Does manage to get away from that seismic shove as Jimmy and Eminem are throwing abilities. They're throwing the skill shots, but they will not find the kills. It's 2-0, but the Dragon, importantly, was picked up there by SoftBank.
Yeah, SoftBank will be relieved to deny the soul for another 5 minutes, but not happy with losing that fight. Frank, again, it seems like whenever they can kite back this Rek'Sai, Silas, Sejuani combo, Zeri doesn't really love it when you're kiting away from her. She prefers to be run at, so anytime SoftBank are running at Frank, they're getting completely destroyed. And Dasher here actually flashes into the Bardal to save himself. Pretty wise play from him, I think, and ends up avoiding Eminem's ulti on the Varus as well, but just maybe over-aggressive, overestimating his damage onto Eminem here. And the side of Frank...
And no follow-up.
Yeah, the side of Frank just happy to collapse around Eminem and peel him here, take down the Silas quickly. Does get the Varus flash. And Evie, portals into his death there. Tunnels into his death. Shutdown going the way of Eminem. He's a very fed Varus this game. So you see why they're prioritizing him. He's 6 items completed on the Varus now.
Certainly is, and they got the Dragon, but they kind of lost any chance of using that Baron. They got 1 tower for it.
Yeah.
3-7 is Forest here on the Sejuani. Not the greatest score of all time, but...
Yeah, off to such a good early game too, and just shut down by Frank.
Teleport coming through here, and maybe Frank got caught out in the jungle. It is, of course, Evie turning up. Eminem standing still, but Evie's found his way here onto this Varus. But it's going to be Forest who goes down first. Evie does not have the damage to deal with this Varus, and now finally Dasher gets into the pit. But another fantastic apprehend coming through there from Jiang is going to keep this Varus up just a little bit longer. All things done in this team fight, however, and it's a 2 for 3. Somehow, at the end of that, Marble finding the damage he needs to take out Varus.
Yeah, SoftBank may be thinking they can catch Frank off guard in this fight and TPing 2 members up. But all 5 members of Frank were there, and Jiang has a great fight for himself. Gets a couple resets during the fight. And it is Jimian doing most of the damage in these fights, but it is just because of how much pressure is being put on Eminem. He is constantly just having this Rek'Sai and Silas run at him.
Oh my,
in these
this
fights.
1D.
Yeah, this Varus champion does not fall off.
Look at him just in this pit. Jiang comes through, saves him for a little bit longer here.
And the Silas and Rek'Sai are just sprinting at this Varus. He does go down eventually, but this entire time Jimian is just dishing out damage. And that was another very dicey magical journey.
Now, 15 seconds on Baron, a minute and a half on the Dragon. So they are not sort of timers at the same time, I suppose, and so you are able to realistically defend both.
Yeah, I think if you're Frank, the game state feels a lot better for you if you wait for this Dragon to come up and force your opponents to decide between the Dragon and the Baron.
Yeah, I agree. Frank, at least they have control over this topside river, which is where the Baron is, and that is available.
Yeah, SoftBank gonna win over mid-priority for now.
Yeah, it's fairly even. Just going to be waiting now for another minion wave as Frank will head once again up into the top side. One of the powers of Rek'Sai is they're going to be able to see the movement, but not going to be very powerful once he does get just connected with a chain of corruption. That's the Mikhail's Crucible coming out through Vista to make sure Evie's not going to lose the vast majority of his health, but now...
Yeah, that Varus ulti will be back up for Dragon. And SoftBank are looking a bit split up.
Yeah, Eminem, he has to be careful of the season assist coming through from Dasher, but he still does have available to him this the shield coming through from the Edge of Night.
Yeah, and there's no way to really break it if you're SoftBank. Same deal with the Bard ulti. Not going to have to worry about that as long as he can keep his Edge of Night. I think Forrest was fishing for a smite onto him there. And SoftBank have to get to this mid wave somehow.
Yeah, Dragon now spawning and SoftBank are in that bot side river, but again, this minion wave will be pushing out mid and starting to do things to the tower. Yeah, we are playing a very dicey game here.
Yeah.
Every team fight and a battle of inches.
Yeah, Evie has to come back now.
Smite coming through. That's going to be picked up there by Forest, though they will have the vision over this dragon. Chain of Corruption now is back and available after Eminem used it earlier on in that mid wave onto Evie.
Forest doesn't have Smite
now. Yeah, Forest using that Smite just before, but maybe they're going to find a way in, and if he gets taken out, they won't. Nice Tempered Fake, going to keep him alive just that much longer, but he's going to lose that dragon in the meantime, in the middle of that Bard ult. Nice usage of abilities here. They find their way onto Eminem, and Eminem's very, very low. He goes down, but Jiang's going to reset. That's one, that's two, it's a triple. It's going to be Gemini who takes the next one, and a quadra kill for Jiang as Frank put the nail in the coffin.
Jiang almost gets a pentakill after how poorly this game started out for him. Very impressive, along with Jimmy, who has just looked ridiculous in all of these team fights. SoftBank not able to secure that dragon and go down to Frank.
Ah, the classic tale of SoftBank. Win game number 1, thumbs up, lose game number 2.
Yeah, the thumbs up prophecy remains. Frank definitely going to end. Not much resistance here from the towers.
This game was a battle of inches the entire time.
Yeah.
SoftBank off to a fantastic start. Evie, I mean, Forrest going down first blood, but then Evie turning around and picking up 2 kills for himself solo, even 1v2ing at one stage and living. And then somehow it just all went pear-shaped. We had one fight around the Rift Herald, and Eminem managed to pick up a bunch of kills. Yeah. Really nice engage found from Kaiwing, and really nice flash to block the follow-up chains there from Silas.
Yeah, and then SoftBank claw back.
No, they did not. The very next fight was in mid lane, where all 5 members on Frank are at about 200 HP or less.